Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. This is Eva family. I'm here in Sofia. Yeah, I don't know. It's raining this morning and we have some places to visit in Sofia. Yeah, if you are following my channel, I would have showed you how we drove from Istanbul to Sophia, Bayram Pasha precisely, and today is another day. It's raining, but yeah, raining is, I love rain, but especially when I'm at home. I don't love rain when I'm walking on the street, but I love, I don't know if you're like me, like that sound of rain on the roof. Oh my god, it's my best moment. But this morning here I am in the city of Sophia with this rain. It's kind of drizzling, but then it's a little bit more. Yeah, so catch up with me. Let me carry you around tall city of Sophia. This rain is not smiling. Me too, I'm not smiling like this. Oi. Yeah, hi guys, this is the update. So we are at the Parliament of Justice, right? We registered for a free Sophia tour for 2 hours. Like, is that not amazing? Is that not amazing? Like, I've never been to a free tour before. This is one of the free tours. I've never been to a free tour there, right? This is the first, not one of. This is the first. So today we have a free tour around Sophia city for 2 hours. I hope it worth it. We have like people like free things, so we are like many. As at now we're like we should be up to 30. That just look behind me. These are all people waiting for free tour. Like, who say free thing is not sweet? We are waiting for free tour. So I hope it worth it, guys. I'm going to carry you along. So this is behind me is the Parliament, Romania Parliament of Justice, Justice of Parliament, Parliament of Justice. So yeah, I grabbed the cappuccino like to get the good day going. Okay.
Going to achieve that, we're going to find out right now from my colleague.
Yeah, guys, so it's very scientific. Pay attention. We're going to do a line down the middle like this.
Okay.
And let's count you up and see.
Sounds good.
Taxes, we pay for marketing and we pay our salaries. So if you would like to contribute to me paying my rent or to us continuing doing these tours, you're more than welcome to leave a donation at the end if you would like. A good donation amount is whatever you would be happy to leave if this was a paid service, but of course it's a free tour, so you're under no obligation there. It's fine. Of the Balkan Peninsula. It's the mountains, correct. Yes, it's a big mountain range that spans from all the way from Slovenia down all the way to Greece, and it splits Bulgaria into two equal parts, the north and south of Bulgaria. And you get a reward for your answer.
Sweet.
These are some candies that usually sit in the purses of old ladies, of grandmas in Bulgaria, and they give it to kids. So today I'm going to be your Bulgarian grandma and give you little treats. They're called bukchita, or little onions. They don't take to the first question. You're all going to have more opportunities. My second question is, now that we know where Sofia is, do we know how old Sofia is? Any guesses?
Since 1000 or 1000 maybe?
How many thousand years? It's in the thousands, yes. 2000. 2000? Older than 2000.
200,000? This is more than 2,000. You see
That's
1,000.
that's actually pretty close. Yeah, that's
Oh.
7,000 years old. Yes, it's considered one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Europe.
Oh.
The oldest continuously inhabited city will probably show up as Plovdiv. Plovdiv is another city in Bulgaria. Sofia is somewhere on that list, quite close. We're not
That's why it's so
100% sure
old.
if it's 7,000 or 8,000 years, but that is the ballpark. There was Neolithic people, Neolithic settlement. Let's go downstairs. Alright guys, if we could gather around a little bit, so yeah, that's nice. I would like to first put your attention towards the obvious big statue there. This is the statue of Saint Sophia, and it's very beautiful. It's supposed to be a symbol of the city of Sofia, but it is a bit of a mistake, as you will find out in a second. It was built in the year 2000 for the Millennium celebrations, and once the municipality revealed it, they immediately started getting some complaints, first from historians, because who is Saint Sophia? She's a Roman saint. She had 3 children, faith, hope, and love. They were all Christians at a time when Christianity was persecuted in the Roman Empire. That's around the 3rd century. So they were persecuted, they refused to give up their faith, and they were killed because they were Christian. Their mother, Saint Sophia, she also died from her grief. It's a sad story about the Christian faith at a time when it was forbidden, but it has nothing to do with the city of Sofia at all. So the historians were thinking, why would the municipality put it there? The municipality said, it's already there. Everybody else likes it, just we don't care. And then they got some complaints from the church because, well, it's a statue of a saint, but firstly, the dress a bit revealing, some might say. I like it, I don't mind it. But they were mad about it. And not only that, but there's some symbolism on the statue that's not really Christian-like. On her arm you can see an owl. This is a symbol of the Athena, a pagan, yeah, but it's a pagan. Wisdom, yes, of course, but it's a pagan goddess, you know? And the crown and the laurel wreath are also pagan symbols. So the church was mad about the fact that this is a saint that died for her, defending her Christian faith, and now they're painting her with pagan symbols on her. It's not very appropriate. Again, the municipality said, it's already there. You're just supposed to like it. It's going to be a symbol of Sofia. To this day, it's quite controversial, but in my opinion, it's much better than what used to be in its spot beforehand. I'll keep that story for later. Let's say it's just a beautiful mistake. It's a beautiful statue. And many people in Sofia don't know this story actually, and they would say that Sofia is named after Saint Sophia. So now you know more about the city than many. On top there, we were on the contemporary level of the city. Modern buildings, 20th century, you know, the courthouse. Sofia is that it's very layered. Usually old cities have an old city in the middle, and then the newer parts around the center.
You were going down.
Yeah, in Sofia it's Petka Samarji is called. It used to be residential mostly buildings. In the ancient cities, Roman cities, usually the normal people, regular people would live outside of the walls of the city or in agricultural areas. So inside of the city wall there were mostly municipal buildings and the houses and they were afraid that the environmental conditions might degrade whatever is left. So they put some newer materials on top. That's why some of it looks brand new. Usually you can see a red line maybe over there behind the glass. There's a red line separating the old stuff, the original excavations, from the newer materials that were put on top to preserve them. So this is also parts of it are the original Roman roads, but we're gonna talk about it later. Alright guys, any questions here? Promise it's there, you're gonna see it in a second. This is the mosque of Sofia, and in Bulgaria we have about 10% of the population Muslims. This amounts to a little over 500,000 people, quite a few. So this is the only functioning mosque in the city of Sofia, which might be a bit interesting how those two facts live together. Well, most of our Muslim population lives alongside the Greek and Turkish border, because after the liberation from the Ottoman Empire, most of the Muslims moved south. Big dome roof. If you have really good eyesight, you might be able to see a star on top of it.
Yeah.
That's the Sophia synagogue. It's very big, very beautiful. It's built in Spanish Moorish style. It's one of the biggest synagogues in Europe, perhaps in the world.
Oh.
And this is interesting because in Bulgaria we only have 4,000 to 5,000 Jewish people in the population. However, before the Second World War, there used to be about 50,000 Jewish people. And considering I mentioned we lost both of the wars, you might be able to put the pieces together that we were in the Axis. And you might be thinking that the story is heading into a very dark direction, but I promise it's not. The story of the Bulgarian Jewish population starts all the way back in the 15th, 16th century with the Spanish Reconquista. So about 200, 300,000 Jewish people were banished from Spain and they had to look for a home somewhere else in Europe. A lot of them settled here in the Ottoman Empire at the time because a bit more about the history of the region after the tour, and you want to welcome to visit it afterwards. But it used to be here. Yeah, you win. It wasn't the Hammam. The Hammam was closer to the. At the end, everybody who didn't get one, it was a bathhouse, yes. And it was built in the beginning of the 20th century, and at the time this was a very important thing to have because most people did not have showers or baths in their houses. So they would use one of the many public baths for their hygienic needs. And usually they would spend the whole day here because it was a very social place. It's, usually on Sunday, on a free day, they would gather here, come bathe. There would be a guy inside that you can pay to scrub your back, similar to the.
The water I drank over there, they say it's good for the heart. And the tour guide said, ironically, Bulgaria ranked the highest in heart disease. So I was wondering why we have water spring that is good for the heart, and so many people are suffering from heart disease. But that is by the way. Alright, the water is not salty. Kind of looks somehow. Imagine when you're drinking a lukewarm water, that is just the taste.
Nowadays, it's the building of the National Parliament. It's still used as a political building. This there is the Ministry of Electrification, which today is the building of the presidency. This here used to be the central department store. And nowadays, it's the Council of Ministers, and also part of it is still a shopping center. And I said this one behind me is the most important one, but I would like to say a few words about this one, the central department store, because, well, learn a lot about the communist regime in Bulgaria by talking about it. The central department. we're back in Roman times. This, I mentioned, we're going to see the eastern gate of the city of Seneca, right here, the remainder. If you remember where the western gate was, of the Catholic Church behind the statue of Saint Sophia. So now you're getting more or less an idea of how big the fortress was. It doesn't look very big by today's standards, but for a Roman settlement, it was a very big city. And we don't have here any natural fortifications. The Romans always built their cities near natural fortifications like big lakes and rivers. We don't have that here, so we relied on very big walls. The walls were like Constantinople with today's Belgrade, and it was one of the main roads between Constantinople and Rome, actually. So if you were traveling in the Roman Empire between those two major cities, you would pass through here, and that's why.
This place is quite interesting. The Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, down to the century. It's quite an interesting tour. Like, I couldn't believe there are free things until I get to Romania. We have free tour in Romania. I will drop the link to this tour, the free tour, on the description. In the description, in case you find yourself in Sofia, precisely in Romania, you can join the free tour. Take a little video of them.
Alright, so we're now again in front of a Roman structure, and this is the oldest building in Sofia, and one of the oldest buildings fully preserved in Europe in general, because the roof is also original, it was never replaced really. This is a very impressive building because it also survives the bombings of the Second World War, and some people say it was the will of God that it survived, because everything around was demolished to build those big buildings. And this is the St. George Church, the round church, or the rotunda, because of its shape. And similar to many of the other buildings that we saw and that we were about to see, it had a different purpose back in the day. It was built before Christianity was official religion, from the 3rd century. Very old, before Christianity was allowed. Any ideas? Any ideas why it was?
Maybe for hiding.
What did you say? It was a public bath again, yeah. That's a safe answer usually whenever I get asked what some building was in Sofia. It was a bathhouse. It was a Roman bathhouse, but not only that, it was like a 5-star resort, because you could also sleep here. These buildings in front were kind of residential apartments that you can rent out, and after finishing with your bathing, sleep in them. Very luxurious, usually for rich merchants or guests of the king, of the emperor. And something even more interesting about them is right here. Do you see those tiles on the floor, kind of raised above the ground?
Yeah.
The floor of the apartment would sit on top of them, creating empty space. Any guesses what they were used for?
Safe.
Or there is, but it's too much of a hassle, and at the end it becomes more expensive because you can find the bus to the nearest city and then take the taxi.
Sofia is really iconic and is very beautiful city. Very, very beautiful. A lot of history. If you're a lover of history, really this is a city to visit. Really like, or you just want to know what happened before you were born, during the days of our great-great-grandfathers. Come to Sofia and learn about Bulgaria. Imagine that iconic building behind me, like it looking so pretty. It's a nice building.
Guys, would you sir? This is the building of the National Theatre in Embark, and a place that is very special to my heart, which is the park in front of the National Theatre. that you see behind me. This man is there. It's the oldest park in Sofia, and it's very special when the weather is a bit better, of course, because it's very much alive. You can see it play chess. And in the afternoons, when the weather is good, the atmosphere changes a little bit, and it's full of young people doing something very special, a Bulgarian tradition, which is called the pejka party or the bench party, which involves you buying a beer or a few, sitting down on a bench, and that's it.
Chatting. Chatting with
Yeah,
your
chatting,
neighbor.
just staying until late night or the early morning, and I'm very much guilty of spending too long of my teenage years here in this park. Public drinking in Bulgaria technically is forbidden, but we don't let that stop us, of course, and nobody's gonna make a big deal unless you're being obnoxious or whatever. Usually it's fine. And something you don't usually see in other public drinking countries, but you can see here, is people carrying benches around, which is the bench party part of the thing. They're not stealing them, they're just putting them in front of other benches and then
You can chat with your
making a
friends.
big group. Yeah, over there I see there's like 5 benches next to each other. You can imagine how many people were sitting there. This is a good place to celebrate birthdays if your birthday is in the spring or summer. You're guessing at this point, I'm seeing it. Yeah, I got that on the last tour that I did. Somebody told me it's also tradition in India, similar. But this is called the Martenica. It comes from the name of the month of March, which is Mart in Bulgaria.
Okay.
So how it works is a few weeks before the 1st of March, the whole city is full of small stands, old ladies selling these things, most of them homemade, some of them not, but you cannot buy them anywhere, in supermarkets, small shops, big shops, and you buy a lot of them, like a big stack. And then on the 1st of March, whenever you see a friend, acquaintance, colleague, the cashier at the supermarket, you give them one. And you give them with good wishes for health and prosperity in the spring.
Wow.
And it's a spring tradition. It's supposed to be coming of spring, you wear them until spring comes. So how do you know that spring has come?
The
Don't use
leaves.
the astronomy, it's not so exact, it's not an exact science. We use the storks, you know, the big white birds. In
Oh.
most countries they bring the babies,
Yeah.
in Bulgaria they bring spring as well. So when you see a stork, you take off your bracelet and you put it on a blossoming tree. Also, some people, whenever they see a blossoming tree, that's a good enough sign for them. So that's why a lot of the trees around Sofia that are blossoming, you see having hundreds of those around. And, some of them are actually from previous years as well.
So it's
It was the council itself. How do you get it right every time? Nice. Yes. This was the royal palace, guys. This was the royal palace.
Royal Palace.
Following another one of the themes of this tour. It had a different purpose back in the day. Even before that, it was the Kona, the Ottoman Kona. And that's an administrative building in the Ottoman Empire, housing the municipality, city courts, the jailhouse, and police headquarters. So we turned the jail into a royal palace, whatever that means symbolically, I don't know. But that's why it's a bit small. It's not like other royal palaces, like the big megalithic buildings around Europe. The only problem is that after we built the royal palace, we had no royalty to put inside the palace.
Oh.
Because after 500 years of Ottoman rule, our royal bloodline, well, it was lost. So we had to import royalty from abroad.
Oh.
We order a monarch from somewhere, and the first monarch that we had was Battenberg, Alexander Battenberg, and he was German. Cobblestones. You've probably seen them around the city center. Today is one of the big symbols of the city of Sofia. And that was the idea from when they were put there.
Oh, our tour guide is in another direction, and I'm here.
Looking at the most important church in the city of Sofia. That one, over there. It's not there. This is the Saint Sophia Church. Hagia Sophia Church that I mentioned before. Saint Sophia is the statue. This is the church that gave the name to the city of Sofia. The name might ring a bell. Hagia Sophia, different pronunciations. There is Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, in Constantinople. Nowadays it's a mosque, beautiful. There is also one in Thessaloniki in Greece. And likely all of them were built by the same guy, Justinian the Great, in the 6th century. He loved building churches and naming them Hagia Sophia. But what does the name really mean? It means the holy wisdom of God, which is another name for Jesus Christ, really, because through the person of Jesus Christ, the holy wisdom of God could be spread out through the subjects of Christianity. So in a way, the city of Sofia and this church are named all after Jesus Christ, the holy wisdom of God. And how did this church give the name to the city of Sofia? Really? Okay, I'll give you a clue. We're outside of the city walls, right? We left the eastern gate of Serdica and we've been going away ever since. So we're a few hundred meters away from the city in general. So we're also kind of on a hill. If you look, all the streets go down from here. When travelers would come from far away from Constantinople on their way to Rome or anywhere else on the big road near Diagonalis that I mentioned, they would see the church first before seeing the city walls. So they would exclaim, there is Sophia, we must be getting close. Do that a few hundred or 1,000 times, and eventually the landmark, or the reference point, which was the church on top of the hill, became more important as a name than Serdica or Triarica, which was another name for Sofia. Eventually people started calling the city Sofia. The first written proof of the city being referred to as Sofia from the 14th century, so quite a long time ago, we've been named after this holy wisdom of God. The pronunciation actually is Sophia, not Sophia, just to differentiate between the words, but that's a detail. And interesting things about the church, it's from the 6th century, but like many other buildings that we saw, it has older things underneath it as well. Actually, it's built on top of a Roman necropolis, and there's also beautiful mosaics and other Roman ruins that are turned into a small museum. Costs about 10 leva, I believe. You can check it out. The church is free of charge, of course. And also it's multi-purpose design. It was never a bathhouse, but there's a church that in the
Saint Sophia Basilica. This church was built after the liberation of the Ottoman Empire as a symbol to show that Bulgarians can practice their faith and build the church to whatever the height they want. Because during the Ottoman Empire, you cannot build a church that is bigger than the mosque. The biggest church must be smaller than the biggest mosque. So after the liberation of the Bulgarians, they were able to build this church. Alexander built, and they did, but the name is Alexander Saint. The name is Saint Alexander. So he helped them to build it. So this is a symbol of Bulgarians' liberation. And inside, imagine building this after the Ottoman Empire left. The whole place is looking so, like, the fact that this country is a Christian country. They are practicing their religion. You know, when you go to a country that is a Christian country, they are like the tour guide emphasizing that this is a Christian. Like, I like the fact that this church or this country is a Christian country, and they are practicing their faith. Before the Ottoman Empire came, during the Ottoman Empire, like the tour guide was hitting on it that this is a Christian church from the beginning of the tour. Nobody needs to tell you that this is a Christian church. So it's really, when I entered the Sophia church, it's like I was blown away. I was like, this is a Christian country. Like everything there, it was so real that Christ is the reason of our faith. Thank God for his death and his resurrection. I'm so happy I came to this country, and I'm so happy the tour guide did a good job. And the fact that he did it willingly without a cost, like at the end of the tour, everybody was able to donate, and I think we donated generously to the guy. All the people that were in the tour, we donated, and like the church is so, I love everything about this church. I love for the country. Like the country has entered my bucket list of the best countries. If you know me, I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm a follower of Christ. I love countries that are Christian countries. Like, I'm so happy for this country. Like, oh God, I'll pray for this country when I'm leaving, that God will sustain their faith.